Hi, I'm Madison Young, and I'm really excited to be on Queer Porn TV. I identify as queer, both as part of my orientation, the way that I fuck. I feel like it is the word that best describes how I like to fuck, who I like to fuck, and I feel like it's more all-encompassing. Growing up and discovering my sexual identity, first I identified as bisexual, then pansexual, and then queer. And I don't really like the label of bisexual since it refers to binary gender systems. And I enjoy people of all body types and all gender identities, and feel like gender and sexuality is very fluid and is something that I like to play with as far as like energy and bodies and just enjoying people of all bodies. I think that we all have erotic tissue that likes to be played with, and I think that queer also is like more political and is like part of my community as well. A community that I enjoy serving and creating space for and being a part of. So queer is definitely a part of who I am. My relationship between the personal and political. Well, I feel like everything that I do personally is pretty political, and that most of who I am personally is very public, and one of the reasons that I do that is for political reasons, to create more visibility, to create more comfortability of people coming out and feeling comfortable in who they are and talking about sex and having dialogue about sex, and realizing that porn can be queer and can be feminist, and that women can be aggressive around their sexuality, and I think all of those things are really important to have on film, and for me to show that personal aspect of myself publicly is very political. Yes, I identify as an exhibitionist. I have identified as an exhibitionist, I guess, since I ever heard the word exhibitionist, and when I first started to discover my sexual self, I really enjoyed having an audience, having people watch me masturbating publicly, having sex publicly, making out publicly, having partners videotape me. I remember the first time when I was a freshman in college at Columbia, and undressing and noticing that there was someone in an apartment right across the way that was videotaping me, and I continued to undress and to masturbate for them. So that's the very first Madison Young video that was created, and for me, I think being on camera and having someone view my sexual desire made it all the more valid, and is like this way of me really claiming my sexual self and feeling very confident about myself sexually. I grew up in a really small town in Ohio, and it was very sexually repressive and definitely not very encouraging for sexual exploration. So I've made it my life's goal to really create space, to have a non-shameful environment, but an encouraging environment for people to explore their sexuality. And I've felt really comfortable exploring mine while a camera is there, or in front of thousands of people on a stage. Well, for me, since I made this my life goal, I've also made it my career. I didn't want to have a separate career that that this was just something I did on the side. I knew it was something that I really wanted to dedicate my life to. So of course there needed to be some kind of a money exchange for me to be able to live. And also the money that I've made in the porn industry has helped to fund Feminipotens, which is my art gallery which creates space for women and transgendered artists, and to have further dialogue about the intersection between art and sex. So, I mean, definitely, you know, if you're doing something privately and it's more intimate and it's just between you and your partner and a camera, then there's a different degree of intimacy there than if it is going out to, you know, to thousands of people, or if you're on a stage. There's definitely a different degree of personal and intimacy that's involved. But, you know, I mean, my partner is also in the industry, and a lot of our personal journey, like in BDSM and in our relationship, has been documented on film. We've had a lot of really intimate moments captured while a camera was there. And that's really nice to look back on. It's like looking through a photo album, and it's still just as intimate for me, some of those moments. Well, whether I'm directing or performing, I try to use whatever tools I have to create a sex-positive production and to portray myself in a sex-positive way, connect with the person that I'm performing with in a sex-positive way. If I'm performing for a more mainstream porn company that maybe doesn't have all of the same ethos behind them as my company or as Queer Porn TV, what I try to do is make sure that I'm communicating with the person that I'm working with, even if I'm only meeting them 10 minutes before we're doing a scene, have a discussion with them about what their sexual likes are and what their no's are, what I like, what gets me off, what we're going to be doing, and also showing how communication can be sexy during the scene. You know, I mean, if the person has their hands inside of me and it's putting a lot of pressure, say on my urethra, but not really on my G-spot, and like they just need to really move their fingers a couple of inches, then I'll ask them to move their fingers a couple of inches in like a sexy way and incorporate that into the scene. And if the director is like, you know, in 5 minutes I want you to fake an orgasm and then have him pop, then I, you know, insist, you know, give me 30 seconds and I'll come for you instead. So having authentic orgasms and connecting and looking into the person's eyes and being genuine and bringing some authenticity into a scene that often doesn't have it is one of the ways that I try to integrate sex positivity into maybe a scene that isn't inherently sex positive. When I'm able to work with awesome directors like you and Courtney and Tristan Taramino, that all give me the option of choosing who I'm working with, discussing what kind of scene we're creating, really working with the performer on creating something that's part of their fantasy. That's always really wonderful because it's empowering the performer even more, and allowing them to have more choice and more power and more tools. So you're able to facilitate a more sex-positive environment for them, and that's always super appreciated as a performer.